Thank you for tuning in to Andronetalks Radio, gathering as one in our sovereign truth from a galactic perspective, exploring our world with new ideas, knowledge, and a promise of a better future. Galactic discussions for galactic-minded people. Andronetalks.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today on Andronetalks Radio. And I have a special guest today, Gail of Gaia. And Gail of Gaia has been doing some really interesting work and has so many different talents. So I want to share with you a little bit about her background. She is the host of the show Free Range with Gail of Gaia. The Free Range is on YouTube, BitChute, Odyssey, Rumble, Telegram, and Facebook, with a channel named Gail of Gaia. And recently a website was added, www.gailofgaia.com. And Gail produces a program using varied skills acquired through a lifetime of experience in education. Although retired from her nutrition career, her varied background in nutrition, naturopathic education, publishing, public speaking, broadcasting serves her well in production of an exciting and thought-provoking media gem. She is the founder, producer, and researcher for this relatively new area of media production, of which she volunteers for full-time. She has a varied background in nutrition, including counseling, teaching, publishing, nutrition assessments, public speaking, and now broadcasting. She has been published in journals and news columns in the past. She participated in the Speakers Bureau, and she frequently worked for women, infant, and children's supplemental feeding programs known as WIC, since maternal nutrition was the topic of her master's thesis. She continued to learn beyond the education program she participated in and considers herself as a perpetual student. She always liked the quote by Mark Twain, "I never let my schooling interfere with my education." Gail makes every effort to have her finger on the pulse of humanity and the planet and seeks out guests that are most likely to add value to her listeners' lives, wellness, and fullness of being. She has a multicultural experience with the Native American reservations, a migrant health program for the Hispanic population, and the community action program for the Black population, and also add flavor and substance to her labor of love. She is thankful for many friends, colleagues who have generously helped her along the way with their knowledge, referrals, and kindness. Her multicultural background in nutrition affords her a unique perspective in many ways, and a very kind and loving person. And here is Gail of Gaia.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for that introduction, Jessica. I just like people to know that I'm a people person. I'm just, I don't consider myself better than anyone else. And I just try to bring my experiences forward, what I have learned along the way. I didn't come from a wealthy family. I didn't come from a highly educated family. I came from people that came largely from the heart, which is what I try to do as well. And the goal is to help people as much as is possible.
Right, and you also have dealt pretty heavily in a lot of topics, current events, and conceptions of what is news, what isn't news, and also the spiritual aspects of things. So you've covered a lot of different topics, and nowadays it's something that a lot of people are getting into because you can't avoid it. These are the important things that are happening. But today we're going to focus on, because I know you could talk in many different areas, but we're going to focus on wellness today because of your expertise and your long-term experience and wealth of information, and also the fact that we want to keep everyone healthy that's listening.
Yes, yes. that, you know, in order for us to carry more light, we have to detoxify as much as possible. And what we put in our mouth is extremely important, far more important than what most people want to believe. And we have been subjected to habits through programming that are not necessarily in our best interest. And so I can address that a little bit if you want. We have many problems to deal with in society to stay healthy. And that is, you know, like I said, what you put in your mouth is very, very important. What you drink, what you eat, what you think. Though all those things come into play in far more important ways than you might ever imagine.
In our environment is not perfect at all. If not, it's becoming even more challenging because of, you know, people say, well, I'll just have an organic farm, you know, I'll take care of it myself, but the air quality because of chemtrailing and other issues of our environment and what's going in the water. I mean, so you could try to be as pure as possible. And then I say, then how about a greenhouse? But there's still some of the elemental issues that we're challenged with just to eat healthy.
It's like we live in a toxic soup. And there was something interesting that I came over today that I thought is worth presenting is that over the past 50 years, and I knew this was happening, the measured nutrients in food, like they measured 43 different fruits and vegetables, has been reduced by as much as 38%. Then you add to that all the toxins that we're dealing with that the body has to try to eliminate while it's trying to assimilate all the good stuff. It's also having to eliminate all the bad stuff. So our body is being overtaxed in many ways, and we're not getting the nutrition from the food that we used to get. For example, the people who are the baby boomers, their food as a child was much healthier. Like our grandparents ate much better than we do. Not that not necessarily the difference in what we ate, but the difference in the nutritional content of what we ate has changed dramatically. I mean, if you have a 40% decrease in the nutrients in food, that's a serious problem. And then when you're dealing with all kinds of heavy metals and chemicals, which are intentionally put into our food for the sake of profit in some manner, shape, or form, it's really hard to eat clean and pristine and stay as healthy as we might like to be. So
okay, I need to jump in on this one.
Okay.
Heavy metals are a huge issue.
Yes.
Primarily because it's hard to get them out of your body. As soon as they get into your body, it's a lot harder, and then they create all sorts of diseases.
Right. Exactly.
What how many people would you say the percentage of people that have heavy metal issues? Would you say it's pretty much everyone at this point?
Yes, I would. Even people who are trying to detoxify and so on, they're constantly exposed to it. It's almost impossible, even when you're eating organic food. And this is what was really disturbing to me. Some of the things that I used to tell people, I have found out in time, that I was trained as a nutritionist about, are wrong. It's not true. And I find that very disturbing. Another reason why I kind of left the field, because you really do, of course, it has much to do with my age as well, but it's just very frustrating, all the things that people have to do to try to, I mean, it's hard enough to change your diet as it is, because these are lifelong habits that we become accustomed to.
Comfort food, everything, yeah.
Exactly. And they are hitting everything. And I got a list of things that have heavy metals that people need to be aware of. And first of all is your water. You need to purify your water in some capacity.
Even the bottled waters, right? So people are just drinking, they have bottled water, spring water. or it's purified, or there was something else saying that they were alkaline water, which they say they just throw some baking soda in. And I mean, tell us about the water.
Yeah, alkalinity is very important. And using baking soda or another product that I happen to like is called Four Salts, which is by pH Miracle. But our pH of our body is very, very important. And it's not like it changes drastically or whatever, but we're often very acidic because of the nature of not only the foods we eat, but what we're exposed to in the air and water and food. So we're constantly in a fight against inflammation, which is as a result of acidification. Okay? And a lot of times the medication that people take just adds to the problem. So some of the most common sources, let me read these to you, the most common sources of heavy metals: water. Okay, even when, and I want to point this out, even when you have some filtering of your water, be careful. Some of the filters do not take out fluoride, which is a neurotoxin. So, you know, osmosis will, that'll take it out. Certain filtering products by Berkeley, for example, will take fluoride out. There's also another product that's recent on the market called AquaPure, which will take fluoride out. But what I'm getting at is people need, absolutely important, to filter your water and get pure water. Very important. It does have heavy metals from all the runoff, from all numerous things. Another very common source of, and this kind of surprised me and I was kind of sad about it, but it actually makes sense: processed fruit juice. Okay, for example, apples are highly pesticided. They are a fruit that you really should buy organic. Grape juice is another one. Those two in particular have exceptionally high levels of heavy metals. So be aware of that. Those two definitely should be bought organic. Now we can talk about, well, let me go through the rest of the list and I'll bring that up. Baby food. 95% of baby foods that were tested have heavy metals. Oh my God, that is horrible. We are starting at and I've even seen bottles of water for infant formula that say, oh, it has fluoride to help your teeth. What a freaking lie. I mean, people have to realize this is a lie. That is a neurotoxin. It's also very carcinogenic in so many ways. And this information is available on research that was done at Harvard. So I'm not making this stuff up. Your non-organic food is also a very frequent source of heavy metals. So bear that in mind. If you can get organic food, and there's a list that's available from the environmental working group called the Clean 15 and the Dirty Dozen. The Dirty Dozen are the most pesticided foods out there. The Clean 15 are some of the foods that you can buy that are non-organic, that don't have as much pesticides on them. Okay, I recommend pesticides. No, I recommend non-pesticided food, organic purchases whenever possible, and it's worth it, because if you don't do it now, you'll pay later, and you will pay with poor health. The other thing is and this is, see, some of these foods that are high in heavy metals are things that we thought were extra healthy, like brown rice. Brown rice, the bran retains a lot of the arsenic from the soil. So even though you're thinking, oh, brown rice is better because it has more fiber than white rice, but at the same time, you're dealing with arsenic in the bran from the soil. Okay, most of your large fish, if people eat fish, they're full of mercury. Mercury is a very serious neurotoxin. It will eat up neurons. I've seen it. That's possible. You can look it up yourself. cheap spices have very high levels of lead. And I didn't know that. And I bought some cheap spices in the past, you know, all these things you know, you just didn't think of it, but it's just disturbing.
That's
they
crazy.
have poisoning for years. Let's see, what's the other one? Brewed, non-organic brewed tea, high in aluminum and high in lead. So I hate to use brand name, but I'd look for something organic if it was Lipton. Hint, hint. Okay, that's my list of foods that are most likely to contain heavy metals. And heavy metals are bad. And there's a number of things that you can take. Cilantro is one. There's a number of other things.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
To remove the heavy metals from your body that are already there. But the best thing you can do is avoid them as much as possible. Because
cilantro is the only recommended, the only way to clean or purge your body from.
It's one of the ways. There's other ones. Zeolite is another great product.
Zeolite, okay.
Yeah. Chlorella is another one. There are anything that's, it seems as though the dark greens help you to eliminate some of these heavy metals. Some plants in particular, like the cilantro, and the zeolite. I'm not sure where that comes from, but chlorella, that's another one.
It's a clay, isn't it? The zeolite is a type of clay.
Clay is another one, but I'm going to tell you, you need to be careful with clay, especially bentonite clay, because there's some bentonite clays that are very high in arsenic. So you need to make sure that that it's food grade or it's organic or whatever. So I mean, they have managed to. It's just about everything. It's very frustrating because it's very hard to, like I said, it's very hard to eat clean and drink clean. So
they're making it harder. They're making it harder, especially with the farms being taken over by the Gates family, and they're just.
Now that's
I have no idea what the horror that's going to be, but I mean, so I think people need to have a plan and make sure, between the GMOs that we're already combating and trying to buy local, but even buying local has challenges due to our environment and what's happening to our environment right now.
Yes. And if you can befriend a local farmer who grows organically, or start a community organic gardening project, which they have done here in Sedona, which I think is really wonderful. But we need community gardens where we can grow things that are, heirloom seeds, organic seeds, things so the food is pure. We do have the problem of the chemtrails, contaminating the food as well. I like to think that aspect is just decreasing and isn't going to be as much of a problem as it's been in the past. We'll see. I don't know.
Let's set an intention. We can be in agreement that those agendas that they've been putting out, that they have too many problems, that they don't have time to harass us. And we'll give them the problems. If they really want to create problems, they can have them. They just can stay away from what we're doing, what we're eating, and how we're living.
Right.
That's what I said. It's the highest intention for humanity, people. That's it.
I agree. The other thing that I have another list besides the heavy metals. There are other foods that people should attempt to avoid as much as possible. I know sometimes it's very difficult to do some of these things, based on just our circumstances and the way things we've come to accept so many things that we didn't even know were bad for us. But anyway, pro-inflammatory foods. That's another whole area.
That's really important, because this is where all the pain, the discomfort, the imbalances in your body, the diseases, the cancers, everything comes from inflammation, doesn't it?
Exactly. And acidification is what causes inflammation.
Right.
And acidification comes from heavy metals in certain foods, which I'm going to go through right now. Now, one of the first ones on the list, and I want people that are listening to this to really go to the store and start looking at some of the ingredient labels, because canola oil is in just about everything. It is a GMO product. It's extremely unhealthy. It's high in heat, high in solvents, deodorizers, and chemicals. So therefore, and also trans fats. So therefore, it's not going to be something that is beneficial for you, but it's almost impossible to buy a processed food that does not have canola oil or soybean oil in it. And let me tell you what the problem is. Both of those are GMO products. GMO products, genetically modified products, are not recognizable by the human body. It might taste the same, it might look the same, but the nutritional value is not the same.
And the body doesn't know how to process it.
Exactly. It is not natural. Natural things just don't, they mess with the body because the body doesn't know what to do with them. It's a big problem. GMOs cause inflammation. And the reason they use canola oil or even soybean oil
or corn oil,
cheap, or corn oil, all of them are GMO products, and they're all inflammatory causing. So
recommended type of oil, olive oil.
Olive oil is good.
Avocado oil.
Yes, avocado oil. Yes. Those would be some of your best choices. Another very inflammatory thing is our processed meats. People who eat processed meats on a regular basis are 44% more likely to die at an earlier age. That's a significant figure.
You mean like cold cuts or sausages or bacon and
sandwich meats that you buy in a package? Those sandwich meats, they frequently are full of nitrates and nitrites, and that's part of the reason why they're cancer causing, and that's part of the reason why they create what's known as advanced glycation. What's that other word? Advanced glycation end products. They form in the body from those foods, and that because they've been cooked at a high temperature. Okay, and so they're very unhealthy. And then the nitrates and nitrites, cancer-causing chemicals. So processed meats are not good either. I mean, if you want meat for sandwiches, it's better to either bake your chicken or bake your beef or whatever you're eating if you're a meat eater, and have them grass-fed, range, free range kind of thing, and use that meat. Don't buy the processed meat. And it's back to more old-fashioned ways, which is very time-consuming. And one of the things that they did, they got both people out of the house working in order to tax 2 people instead of 1. That's part of it. But it also took, frequently would be the mother, away from the family for being able to cook foods that would be more healthy. And so everything had an agenda behind it in one way or another, and that includes the feminist movement, which I certainly fell for as well. But anyway, then the next one is fried foods, because the fried foods, again, create those advanced glycation end products. And it's just a substance that's formed from the nature of those foods that is very unhealthy in the body, and the body has to get rid of it. And it's because the food has been cooked at such high temperatures. It destroys it. Just like when you put your food in the microwave, which is one of the worst things you can do.
Yes, it's horrible.
But people, it's just a couple of minutes, or I just do my water or my coffee.
Too late.
It doesn't matter. If you do your coffee or your water in there, it puts an opposite spin on it, that is not, the body has to recreate, so to speak. I mean, that spin is not normal, and it
alters the molecular structure of the food or any type of liquid or anything that you put in there. And some people have actually linked like leukemia and other types of illnesses from microwave use. Yeah,
definitely. They were banned in Russia by the scientists in Russia. They said, no, we can't use this. It destroys the nutrients in the food. It makes people, I mean, you might as well just say it makes people unhealthy. You don't get the nutrients. I mean, if you already have a 44% reduction in the nutrients of the food because of the nature of the farming and and the GMO foods and so on, and now you throw it in the microwave, all you're getting is calories. You're not getting any vitamins.
No, nutritional. Yeah. Plus, if it's not working correctly, you have levels of radiation coming at you if you're standing in front of it.
Exactly.
So it's like get rid of it, throw it out. No, just don't buy them anymore. Stop. Use a toaster oven. Use your own oven, whatever it is. Be patient. Throw it on the grill, like a frying pan or something. Heat it up.
If you go into if you live in an apartment like I do, frequently they have microwaves built in. Mine is a cupboard. It is not a microwave. It's full of goods and I also unplug it, which is something. This is just a side note, Jessica. Okay, I'm going to say this because I didn't know this and I tried it and I'm amazed. I unplug everything now, almost everything, not everything, but almost everything in my house at night when I go to sleep, and it will reduce your electric bill. I can guarantee this because it reduced mine significantly. I mean, I don't unplug everything, but I unplug all my computers, my router, my any place that I have main things. It makes a big difference. It'll make a difference in your bill. So that's something to think about.
There's other benefits to that. So if you have like some kind of lightning, or there's any kind of energy surge that comes in, then your computer's not hooked in, and there's some other benefits to that as well.
And the other thing is, it cuts down on dirty electricity and EMF to a certain extent. But also another thing that people need to do, and I have to remind myself about this, is don't keep your cell phone in your bedroom at all, even if it's turned off. Keep it in a different room. They can turn it on remotely, and it can also send 5G weapons. Your direction. So anyway, that's a whole nother story, but I just wanted to throw that out there just so you're aware of it.
No, that's important. Yep.
So the next food in the pro-inflammatory foods group would be fried foods. The fried foods, again, you're dealing with a very high temperature food, so you're going to get those advanced glycation end products. And rather than going into the exact chemical structure of that, just know that those products are not recognized by the body. The body doesn't know how to deal with it. Therefore, it puts an extra stress on the body to get rid of it, which helps make it pro-inflammatory. So, and then the next one, I think most people know this, whether we want to admit it or not, is processed sugar. If you look at sugar under an electron microscope, processed sugar this is, you will see a significant change in the structure. It's all pointy. It almost looks sharp. It's like a bunch of needles.
Wow.
And that's just one aspect of it. But again, your beet sugar, your beets are GMO. I mean, you could get natural cane sugar, but again, the processing of it, that's something they never, I don't care what anybody says, they can be an RD, they can be a nutritionist, or whatever. One thing they never taught these people, and myself included, because I was a nutritionist, or still am, but I know things now that I didn't know long ago, because they didn't include it in the curriculum. And that is, how a product is manufactured is every bit as important as the product itself, which is why we are going to and tell you that whole foods are the best thing you can do, because once it gets processed, so much is lost.
Right.
Is
Right.
big. And they don't talk about that. They don't tell us about that. They don't, it's not even included as part of the education. And that's, maybe it is now, but when I was in school, it wasn't. And later I found out how important that aspect really is. So that's why I like the quote by Mark Twain. I never let my education, I never let my schooling interfere with my education. And those are the kinds of things that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So, and people don't, I don't think they realize how much sugar they get if they drink sodas, if they drink energy drinks. Those are really, we'll get to that one. That's a whole other ballgame.
That's a whole other.
Yeah, but your energy.
Sugar is loaded in a lot of areas that people don't realize. I mean, they put sugar in all different types of foods.
Ketchup, it's got sugar in it. Everything's got. I mean, really, and it's processed sugar. It's not natural sugar. And fruit juice, especially certain kinds of fruit juices. Now, generally, I would say a fruit juice is better than soda, generally speaking, because you can dilute it significantly. You can't dilute soda. You ruin it. I mean, it's not going to be soda anymore. But you can dilute fruit juice, and that's what I do if I have it. But it is something that does contain, a lot of times, unless it says no sugar added, it frequently will contain added sugar too. So that's always something to watch out for. So, and that will be very pro-inflammatory. And it also is, it's interesting that over the years they always said high cholesterol foods is what raise cholesterol, when in fact it's sugars. And the sugar industry did a great deal to keep the stance that they have that it was saturated fat and so on, rather than the sugar.
They got everyone terrified of butter,
right?
Which is you can get grass-fed organic butter. Everyone was terrified of it, and then they went to margarine, which was a chemical product.
That's plastic, which
is plastic.
It's funny. Your bugs and so on won't even touch it. Animals won't touch it. They have instinct. They know better. So that was, I remember the margarine thing. That was another thing they taught nutritionists and dietitians that, use the margarine instead of the butter. Oh my God, what a mistake that was. And, those kinds of things, they didn't know. They were doing what they were taught. And besides that, doctors never had any background in nutrition whatsoever and would poo-poo anything you tried to do to improve someone's diet as well. So that was always, that was a major problem.
It gets into a few different reasons, and snobbery is one of them, because they assume that they're the educated ones and they know better for everybody. But I think a lot of people have just gone back to the grassroots of everything and said, hey, the healthiest way is to live like my grandparents lived, and just get back to basics again.
Yeah, let me bring that forward a little more about that. Our grandparents, and you need to keep this in mind, and anybody who's older, who's being very judgmental about the younger generation, they need to take this into consideration. And that is the fact that as an older person, like myself, I probably in my entire lifetime maybe had 5 or 6. I probably shouldn't even say that, but that's a fact. Okay, I'm just repeating a fact about how many of those that somebody got. Well, right now, a child, by the time they're 18, will have, I think it's 76, something like that, some outrageous number.
Yes,
That certainly is something to think about. Not only that, the food that our grandparents ate was far more nutritious. If it was 44% more likely to maybe that 44, where did I get that from? The 44% is, they would die early if they were eating the processed meat, but that's not what I meant. What I meant was that the pro-inflammatory foods and the effect that it has on people because of this medication is major. I kind of lost my train of thought there, but anyway.
I know. There's something else going on.
Yeah, it's in the background. Over there.
I do that too. It's kind of like a midstream type of thing because you have so many different ideas that are happening at the same time, and then you get a little sidetracked. So, and with this topic, you get very heated too. So it's easy to kind of fall off the wagon on the discussion. So
Sorry about that.
yeah. So anyhow, we're looking at things like mayonnaise, that all the condiments are filled with stuff, and I don't even know to bring up something like hot dogs, which is a disaster area for first thing, feeding kids.
If people visually saw what went into hot dogs, they probably never would eat them again. You know,
right.
Anywhere from
sausages or some of
chicken feet to tendons, ligaments, you name it, it's in hot dogs. And,
yeah.
I'm not a meat eater, generally speaking. I'm not fanatical about it, but I try not to eat meat. I do care about animals, and that does bother me. But at the same time, I've been told that the animals volunteered to come to the planet for that to happen. So whatever the story really is, I don't know.
Right.
But
I don't know either, and I know like some of my feelings. I have mixed feelings on as well, and I also feel like I'm not in the position to judge anyone in that area because of people making choices, and I think people are just trying to eat healthy at this point the best that they can. But I do. Speaking about people that are saying, "All right, I'm not eating any more meat." How healthy are these meat substitutes that they're putting out there? So they have like mushroom burgers.
Yeah,
and
I wouldn't touch Bill Gates burgers with a 10.
Well, no. No, I would ask him to eat it in front of me first. You know what I mean? Exactly. I doubt he would.
Exactly. And I just
I think like the mushroom burgers, I don't know what they call it. I think they put grains and stuff in some of these burgers. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like the fake meats that they have out there that they're selling people?
Yes, it's kind of interesting that, when you want to become vegetarian or vegan, why are you getting meat substitutes? Think about that. Why, I guess maybe it's part of the programming. We've been so accustomed to doing that. I don't think it was a natural thing from the very beginning. If you look at our digestive system and you look at our teeth, we should be like fruitarians and vegetarians more than anything else. But you can, over the years, due to the introduction of meat into the diet and different situations and so on, I'm sure the body has adapted genetically in certain ways. And maybe that's why it's difficult for people to transition to these diets one way or another. But we do get far more protein than we really need. And it does take a toll on our liver and kidneys. That's just a fact. And
but what my question is that these meat substitutes look like they're not even healthy at all. They're supposed to be vegetarian, a lot of them. They're made out of like a mushroom burger or these fake burgers. Like what's in them? And so you get like a processed food again.
Exactly.
For vegetarians.
Exactly. And you have to be, if you're going to be vegetarian or vegan especially, you better be a highly educated one, because you need to combine certain foods. And I'm not knocking it. In fact, in a lot of ways, I appreciate it because of the consciousness of animals and so on. That bothers me sometimes. But when you think about it, and I know this is controversial, but a fruit is the only thing that falls to the ground. You don't even have to, you can pick it. It was meant to come.
You don't pull it out of the root. You don't, exactly. Harm it in any way. Yeah.
Because what I had thrown at me when I said, I'm vegetarian was that, oh, well, have you read The Life of Plants? And no, I haven't read it, but I've heard enough about it to know what it says, that plants have feelings too, because they have a consciousness too. It's a different type from an animal. In my opinion, because its consciousness is kept in the um, unified field of animals, or the plants, I mean, and so the blueprint is never lost for that particular plant. And it's just a matter of, if you remember when we saw the movie Avatar about saying something to the plant or the animal, if you're sacrificing it, I mean, they were telling you something there. They really were.
It is. That's the old way of doing things.
We're all connected. We're connected to the plants. We're connected to the animals. We're all one, but we just don't know it, and we haven't been trained that way, and it's difficult for people to say. But I should go on with some more of the pro-inflammatory foods. I didn't really finish my list.
Yeah.
Did you have any questions on what I just said? Anything?
No, I think I was going to ask you after you cover that to also discuss the tech that they're actually putting in some of the food as well. It's like nanotech.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so that's a whole other issue with our children that are hooked on computers and all that. But why don't we finish your list and we'll get into that.
Okay, I did the processed sugar last, so now the next one is flour. And flour, again, we're dealing with a GMO product. We're dealing with, they think we're dealing with gluten, but we're really dealing with glyphosate is what it really boils down to.
What is it you're dealing with?
Glyphosate from when they desiccate the wheat, they dry out the wheat after it's ready for harvest, right? What they do is they spray it with Roundup, a product like that, which is full of glyphosate, and there's all kinds of health issues related to that. It's also GMO. There's issues related to GMOs too. I mean, it was hard to fight against the Monsanto, three-piece suit, fancy car, fancy brochures, you name it, and just be a regular nutritionist going against the grain, trying to fight these people and saying that GMOs are not good for us. So they won big time, and all of our farmers are, now they're huge conglomerate farms that grow mostly GMO products. And here's the thing with the cattle: if you don't buy, boy, it's thundering here. If you don't buy organic or grass-fed beef, you're getting beef that has been fed out on GMO corn for at least 3 months to fatten them up.
Right.
Now, GMO corn is in the tissues.
And steroids and everything else, yeah.
That's what you're eating. So you're getting it whether you think so or not. So that's another whole thing. So, and when it comes to back to the flour, you have the gluten issues. Those issues would not be there if it wasn't for the glyphosate.
Interesting.
That's the fact.
Interesting.
So it's a big trigger for inflammation, especially white bread. White bread's really bad. The product that the gluten activates is called zonulin. Zonulin, if anyone wants to look that up. It then leads to a leaky gut, and then your immune system gets overreactive because your gut isn't supposed to leak anything into the circulatory system, but it does under those conditions, and then you have a problem. You have allergies, you have reactions to different things.
Inflammation again.
Yes, inflammation.
And
name of the
what
game.
do you think about Ezekiel bread?
Much better choice. Yes,
if you had to eat it, Ezekiel bread is made out of sprouts.
I believe so.
Sprouted bread, I guess.
It's hard to find sometimes. I've used it in the past, and it's good. I've kind of steered away from most of those bread products.
Yeah.
But that would be a better choice, really.
Yep. I do have a client that lives very close to the, I think it's in Nebraska, close to all the farms and everything. And he says the Roundup and he's very sick. He was in a wheelchair, not very healthy. And, we had a discussion about his health and what you do to counteract some of these things. And I actually lived in Nebraska for about I want to say 6 years or so.
I was in Nebraska for a few years too. Yeah.
And I worked in the farm. I worked the farms a couple of times where I actually, you go down the rows with the machete, you cut out the weeds, and it was breathtaking. It was beautiful. But yeah, when they sprayed, it was horrible. You can just taste it. You could feel it in the air. It was really strong.
They have some of the hugest. Here's another thing, another aspect I should bring up that people need to know. When you, there are some of the largest feedlots you'll ever see in Nebraska too. I mean, huge feedlots. And if you've never seen a feedlot, what happens is they have a whole bunch of steers in a very relatively small space, and they have mud and excrement from the cattle's pooping that they are standing in that are, it's almost up to their knees. I mean, if you would call them knees. And they slosh around in that all day and eat GMO corn. And but
Gail, when I lived there, I lived in Fremont, Nebraska, which was the place where they had the Hormel plant and all the processed meat there. And the smell of the town. It was, I mean, I was there because my ex-husband was from there, but just that, the locals would just say this is the smell of money, Is that the lightning?
yeah,
They used to say this is the.
Here, I got a major storm. I mean, it's like monsoons out there. But
Wow.
we're doing okay. I mean, it hasn't interfered with our perception at this point. So,
No, you still have good connection, but they used to say that it smells like money. That's what that smell is, and it smelled like, it didn't smell normal like meat. It had a weird smell. So whatever they were doing there is, it made me never want to eat those products.
Are the things that they add to preserve it for longer. I just saw of McDonald's French fries, hamburger, that type of thing. And the food was 2 years old and it was still okay.
Yeah.
It still looked
preserved
okay.
Forever. I know.
Yeah, you didn't see any mold or anything on it, and of course your insects won't even touch it. So that should tell you something. Which reminds me, when we talk about they're trying to make meat, different foods containing insects now. Is that gross?
Oh yeah, I was just looking at that this morning. How I think it was a Canadian classroom where they were handing out little snacks with.
And they don't
we could put that in. We could put that in here. I'll put that little piece in here that where they were handing out snacks of these grasshoppers in little bags and asking kids to try it and ask them what they thought about it. They're conditioning us because that's part of the agenda, is to get us used to not having normal food anymore, that we're going to just teaching us to eat insects, and this is how much they hate us.
Insects contain something called chitin, CHITIN, I believe it is. Where our body is not equipped to digest that. What the repercussions of that will be, I have no idea. But it's probably not good. I mean, let's face it, they have an agenda that's going on. I mean, it's not just to, and they're far from caring about saving the planet. Give me a break. If you believe that, I don't know. It's
I think it was. I just watched it today, and they said something about that they have an exoskeleton that we're not able to digest.
Exactly.
It could cut us. It's not healthy.
It probably will cut up your gut inside. Okay.
Right.
We're not. We don't have what we need to digest it properly. And one of the reasons that there's Well, maybe let me finish this list. I keep going off on different tangents, and believe me, I can do that. I'm sorry about that. But anyway,
Nope.
let's finish the list of products. Dairy products, okay? This is very disturbing to people, but dairy products are extremely pro-inflammatory. They do cause people to produce a lot of extra mucus. I don't know how we ever started drinking another species milk in the first place, but we did, and that's okay. Don't get me wrong. I drank milk a lot of big portion of my life. I try to avoid it now as much as possible using, like almond milk or hemp milk or some of the other milk substitutes out there. But dairy is probably the most inflammatory food in the modern diet, second only to gluten, the wheat.
Okay, so hold on. So I was thinking I was being really healthy, and I was making these smoothies, and I'd get out my almond milk or my hemp milk or whatever, and
I know where we're gonna go.
And then I find out that there's this carrageenan and some other stuff that they're putting in the almond milk. It's supposed to be really unhealthy for you, and I was like, well, I mean, you try to do the right thing.
Yeah, sometimes it's just like we can't win. We can
it's evil. It's straight out evil that they have corrupted everything that tastes good and everything that was natural. Yes.
Everything they really have. It's really hard. One of the reasons I sometimes I think I don't even want to be a nutritionist. I can't even tell you what's good for you anymore because there isn't anything left.
And you were saying the right thing, because of dairy, and like you said, a body doesn't really adapt. Dairy does taste good. A lot of people, from the range of ice cream to just milk, and the milk and cereal that we all grew up with, and butter, and all the different products that go into that. And even ghee, which is the butter from, it's purified butter, or I don't know what the process is, but all of this stuff is dairy, right? And then it's like, you're like, all right, we have to get rid of all of that. Let's have something more natural. And then you go into the almond milk. The almond milk came out, it became really popular. There was like a few different, then they're doing the oat milk too, which brings us back to the grains again, right? So
one of the things that they do with all food now that we keep forgetting about because it's kind of hidden is irradiating it. That's another thing that they do, and that's going to reduce the nutritional value as well. It's just no wonder that we have so many unhealthy people. And it's not just that they're just making all these terrible bad choices. Yes, they could improve their choices, but even when they improve their choices, they're still dealing with a lot of things that they shouldn't have to deal with. Because the food industry is just as bad as Big Pharma or anybody else, as far as I'm concerned, or big oil. It's all about the money. That's all that matters. They have food scientists that they actually pay money for to make your foods more addictive.
Yes. Yeah, I was convinced of that years ago with this Doritos. I knew they had something in there that was that.
I know a woman whose husband was a food scientist who told me that they told him to create a chemical or a substance that they could add to the food to make it more addictive. The first time
you're watching TV and you're eating and you're like, well, how did this happen? How did this happen? It just doesn't make any sense.
And I don't watch TV anymore, but when I'm in a situation where a TV's on, whether it, maybe at a hotel or somebody else's place or whatever, the food commercials are endless. I mean, God help you if you're on a diet.
Yeah. I think everything, well, I mean, we are in an environment where everything is for sale, and it's a market. Everything's a market. And so you eat in a certain way, but you can't be too healthy, because then if people are not sick, then they won't feed into the other industry, which is pharmaceutical industry, and all of those products that you need for cough and cold and for viruses and for whatever, heart issues and insomnia and all these other things. So they're working together.
Yes.
To make sure that everybody makes money, while we're like, what happened here, and we had too much trust. We had way too much trust in the system and Big Brother and everything that has been going on. And we through the years have been observing these things, and then the younger generations are like, "Oh, you just exaggerated." Well,
that's true. Yeah.
they don't know the transition of everything that we've seen and what we've experienced and where it's come from.
I honestly think that's part of the reason why they want to get rid of as many old people as they can, because they remember.
Yes.
They may not remember everything, or they may forget what they just did when they went into a different room, but they still remember.
They remember their history. Like, I mean, they can tell you details and everything, but yeah, you're right. Then they'll forget their name. So
yeah, there's a great way to, you eliminate them, and you'll eliminate a lot of history that hasn't been recorded.
Right. Well, they want to change the history. Yeah. We know that they've been doing that, literally convincing the younger generation of things that never happened, or replacing it with a whole other story or whatever, because of a variety of reasons.
It promotes
but it's also a mud flood thing. They've done this before, and they'll continue doing it as long as they can get away with it.
I think they're going down though, slowly but surely. It appears that way anyway. I hope it's true.
That's what I wish.
Yeah, don't we all? But back on to the dairy, just so you're aware of this, 65% of people are lactose intolerant. So they're having issues with milk in the first place and dairy products in the first place. So if you don't have the enzymes to break down the lactose that's in milk, you're going to have bloating, you're going to have gas, you're going to have issues. And that's why some people don't drink milk at all. But some people that get those issues, they don't even realize that it's coming from the dairy that they just consumed. So on that same note, I also found out that there's a whole breed of cattle that makes a different form of casein, which is one of the proteins in milk, and it's very difficult for people to digest at all. Casein was always a bit of a problem from what I understood, but it now has, because of this new breed of cattle, has become a worse problem. That's a whole nother,
Did they breed that? Did they create that breed, or
I would doubt it.
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to research the breed, but that's what I recently read. So that's a whole nother area. Then after that, we have artificial sweeteners.
Right.
I mean,
I think I just see cancer. I think that's what they are. My grandmother died from saccharin. She used to always have her little tablets of saccharin and put it in her coffee, and it turned out that we figured out that it was from the saccharin that was
right. The only problem, the one that they took off the market right away, it probably didn't have, and that was cyclamates, I think, if I remember correctly. But that was a different type of. Well, we have saccharin. Was it cyclamates? I can't remember what it was. But anyway, what else?
There's like sorbitol. There's all these like weird sweeteners. The blue package, the yellow package, right?
Equal. That's the worst one. I mean, that causes all kinds of health problems. People get off of that, and I don't know why I'm having a problem remembering that name right now. It's maybe I'm being
blocked.
Yeah, maybe I'm being blocked, but. Why am I not thinking of what? Do you know which one I mean? It is in the blue package.
I can't think of it either. I think I blocked them out when I go to a restaurant. It just goes to the side. I don't even touch it. So the alternate sweetener, honey.
Stevia. Some people don't like it, stevia, but I found one that I really like.
Stevia is a good option, and there's another one that they came out with.
Monk
There's
fruit.
some other, what is it? Yeah, monk fruit. Yeah.
Monk fruit, that's another one. I think they've been coming out with a few other ones too that have a sweet taste that comes from a natural food. Then again, who knows what happens during the manufacturing process. But sugar, any way you can, these artificial, that are totally artificial chemical sweeteners are bad, very bad. Equal, for example, causes all kinds of problems. People that had MS symptoms would get off of it and they'd be normal again. People, embalmers, have found very high levels of, what's that embalming fluid? Formaldehyde in people that were big users of Equal.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why I can't think of the name of that is just beyond me right now. But anyway, maybe it'll come to me later when I'm not on the subject. But it's it affects your, some artificial sweeteners have actually been linked to weight gain. Just the opposite of the reason why people use it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like in the diet sodas, they say they actually causes weight gain.
And the other thing about the artificial sweeteners is that it messes with your gut biome. And that is one of the things that they did with the GMO foods and using the Roundup and stuff. When you are 70% of our immune system resides within our gut biome. They have done everything in their power to destroy that.
Right.
GMO
probiotics
destroy that.
Or lacking. Yeah.
Glyphosate destroys that. Yeah, so we need those gut bacteria for digestion, for vitamin formation, and a number of other things. So that being destroyed is another way to really damage our health and well-being. And that's what it's all about.
Have you ever heard of the product called Laird's? Laird's, L-A-I-R-D-S, and they have coconut-based products, because that's what I've been using. They're kind of like in place of dairy, in place of sugar, you just put this coconut-based product in.
I use a lot of coconut-based products. Yeah, I use coconut milk, coconut water. It's very high in potassium, which is really good too. Most people don't eat enough fruits and vegetables, so they get a higher level of sodium, and it's not the good sodium either. I mean, there is a difference behind the source, but it also they don't get enough potassium because they don't eat enough fruits and vegetables. Most people don't even eat. When they were healthy at one time, people weren't eating that much of it, unfortunately. Because we've been bombarded by the meat and dairy industry to consume mostly those foods, and that's what most people do, and processed foods. So the things that are the most healthy, that you get the most vitamins and minerals from. However, that's even contaminated with glyphosate. It's like we can't win. I mean, it's just really
that they've affected vitamins. Not all vitamins are pure either. You have to go to a health food store and get them. All of this costs money, but think of it this way: you're investing in your body. I mean, if your health isn't well, nothing's worth it. I mean, that's a problem.
Pay now, you will pay later, and when you pay later, you'll pay a much higher price.
Yes.
And
you won't be happy.
You won't have I mean, what good is a lot of wealth if you don't have your health? Not much wealth. I mean, you can have all the money in the world if you can't spend it and enjoy it or whatever. What good is it? Your health, your body is very important, and you're the one that's in charge of it, and you're the one that has to take care of it. People can give you all the information you need. Whether you act on it it's on you. So we put this information out there. You might be able to do some things. Certainly can do a little bit of something to make some positive changes for the sake of your health. I mean, it's no fun to be sick. Anyway, the last one that I have on my list is artificial colors. Some of the artificial colors that Americans find in their food are banned in other countries. Many of the chemicals that we find in our foods in America are banned in other countries.
Yes.
So, what does that tell you? Why is it banned in Europe and it's not banned in America?
Have you ever gone to Europe?
No, unfortunately, I haven't been to Europe. I wish I had, but I haven't been there.
I've been there and I've had the food and it's different.
I've heard that. I've heard that from people.
It's healthier.
Clients that I've counseled. They'll tell me that they can eat pasta in Italy, but they can't eat it here.
Or breads, anything. Yeah, they don't contaminate their breads. They actually respect, food, and that food has a purpose. They don't think everything should be poison. Exactly. And that's part of the reason why they're trying to hit the farmers over there pretty hard, is because the farmers are doing the right thing. And it's like, yeah, I don't even know what the police or anyone or the governments or what they're thinking hurting a farmer. It's the most insane.
Yeah, don't they eat? Yeah.
Don't they eat? Are you robots or what?
Yeah, well, apparently some are.
Some of them look like the RoboCops. That's what they were calling them in France. So, and it's whatever's happening in the Netherlands. It's just like, are you serious? Are you serious? You're beating up these people. You're shooting at them? It's insane. It's insane that they might as well just jump off a cliff if they're going to start destroying food.
Exactly.
What is the purpose?
Humanity needs to stand together. Oh my gosh, it's so important. We just really need to stand up for what's right. I mean, you see something like that going on, it irks me to tears that we got people saying, well, I stand for Ukraine. Why don't you stand for your American neighbor? How can you stand for somebody across the sea? You haven't even been there. You don't even know what it's like. You're just believing everything that they tell you.
You don't even know why they're saying it. It's just like, I want to get along. I want to blend in with society. So I'm just going to say yes to everything that the news is saying and not think on my own. It's too much effort. I don't know why they're like this. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, I sort of know why. I mean, we know that we have a society that's just filled with MK Ultra and also this whole thing, this fear of something terrible happening to us if we don't comply. And what's really terrible is because of all the compliance, it's not made things better, but worse. And I'm not saying go out and, but wake up, and do the right thing. I mean, I think we're preaching to the choir here with those that will be listening. But food is probably our gold. Everyone's like, oh, we need to get, gold. Gold is up, and this is what's important, and Bitcoin, and this and that. No, think about the.
Yeah.
I met this Native American, or actually he was an Inuit from Alaska, and he looked at me, and I did like a documentary for one of the local areas where I interviewed a bunch of Native people, and was asking them about their experience, and we put together a something for the community, like a community video, and he stood there in front of me and he says, you have the camera running? And I said, yeah. And he was old. He was probably in his 70s, maybe old, like close to late 70s, early 80s or whatever. But he was youthful in many ways. And he stood there and he looked at me and he goes, you're all worried about oil in your society. And he held up a jug of water. He says, this is going to go for a lot more than that oil that you're worried about right now. He says, you have misconception of what is going on in the world. We know what's going on. And I looked at him and I stepped back and I said, he says, ask how much this is going for a gallon right now. And he was right. He was right. And look what they're doing with all the water now and all of the dams. This was back in, I want to say around 2000 when I did that work.
Pretty soon they'll be trying to charge us for breathing, for air, for oxygen.
Yeah.
Yeah, this has got to turn around. This can't continue like this. It's got to change. And this is where they're talking about the bifurcation. Some people are going the way of the AI and some people are going the way of the organic human. And I'm all for the organic route.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, absolutely.
I just, I don't know, that we have not only do we have to take care of ourselves, we also have to take care of our animals, because many of our animals, a lot of the animals are dying. Some of them are going extinct. There is talk that there are people that are, poisoning the food for the, domestic pets and so on. It's just unbelievable. But I really think it's all coming to an end, and I don't want to sound like I'm, putting out any kind of porn or anything.
But we're being realists. We're being realists, right?
Yes, and I would encourage people to eat as clean as you possibly can. I realize everybody has some limitations in terms of what they can do, but you'd actually be better off having less food that is clean and nutritious than a lot of food that's a bunch of junk. Because the junk food's going to get you sick. That's all there is to it.
Tell us about the animals. So is there any type of food or recommendations for animals? Because, these are the children of many people. They love their animals very dearly, and that's important.
Oh, definitely. Well, I have an animal too, and she means everything to me, because she's been my only companion for the longest time. And she's not even that old, but what I do is I don't buy the canned dog food or what have you. I actually prepare her food. I use, and I try to do what I can. I get as clean of meat as I possibly can. And then sometimes I use a little bit of rice. Or excuse me, I'm having a coughing fit here.
You need a bit of water? You need to go get some water?
Let me have a drink real quick here.
So,
but anyway, one of the things that I do and that I have for people is, well, I use real meat. I use real either potatoes, lentils, or a little bit of rounding it out somewhat. But dogs are, they have they're meat eaters. Definitely. And for generally speaking, just by looking at their teeth and their intestinal tract, and that's what the best way to find out what the best food is for different animals. But what I'm getting at is, just like you should make your own baby food, you should probably make your own dog food too, if you want your animal to be safe. It's just, it's sad that it's that way, but I've been told that the dog, like the animal, cat and dog foods, they have it heated at such high temperatures. Well, you know what that does to humans. How are they any different? You have that advanced glycation issue, and it's going to happen to animals. How many animals do you hear are people talking about their animals had cancer, this, that, or the other thing? A lot of them. Now, I do have a product line that I carry, and I really believe that these people, it's a family-owned business, that they've been around for about 12 years, and they have several very good products, I think, and you can get it at vitalpets.gailofgaia.com, and it's Vitality Science is the actual name of the company itself, and they don't make the dog food itself, but they have different protocols. Once you have a diagnosis on your animal or certain symptoms, you can consult with them, and they will suggest different products. One of the products that I really like that they carry is Luxolite, and that is a food grade bentonite clay that you can give to your animals, which will, of course, help with detoxification. Animals need to be detoxed just like humans. So
absolutely.
That is a great company. They have great articles there. They're very good people, honest. They haven't.
Oh, you just muted. Gail, you muted.
Oh, sorry, I did that accidentally when I hit my hand down on the. Okay. So anyway, I think they have great products, and they will help you and consult with you free of charge. Obviously, the products aren't free of charge, but they will tell you what the different protocols they have for different conditions. For example, if your dog has cancer, they have a protocol for that, or if your cat does, or if it has a urinary problem, or if it has a gut problem, whatever it happens to be. They've dealt with a lot of it over the years, and they deal only with holistic vets or veterinarians, maybe I should say. And people, they get great reviews, and so I'm happy to be affiliated with them.
We'll put some of those links for people to look at in the chat area.
There is another, if people, want to see, I post a lot of things, and the place that I feel the freest to post is on Telegram. And you can find me on Telegram at t.me/Gail of Gaia/ and I post a lot of really good information there, I think. And I also have a newsletter that I send out to people.
Well, you know what, Gail, I prepared a little something for us towards the end here, and I'm assuming that you've gone through your notes. And do you mind if I share a little something? Because I know that I've had my own little personal journey with health, because my body decided it didn't like what I've been eating all these years, kind of rebelled me, and I had to fight back, and then I had some other issues come up and stresses, and the super soldiers go through different things too, that we have incidences where we're astrally going through stuff, and the next morning you wake up and you're like, wow, I felt like I was hit by a train. So and you remember what you went through. It was some kind of battle. But there's environmental issues too, and so there was other things that were happening. My house had some black mold, which is very debilitating. And so I figured out all of this within a year, and I'm like, all right, this is really rough. So I had a lot of inflammation. So I'm going to share the screen and show you a little clip of something that I did recently. And what I discovered, Gail, is I'm seeing everywhere, everyone's saying, hey, guess what? I have med beds. We're going to talk about med beds. And everyone's saying, all right, well, where are they? Let's go and find them. And so for the most part, people say, well, nobody has it yet, or they have some kind of variation. But I'm not one to just wait for something to happen. I'm a doer. So I needed something now. And what I discovered, Gail, is that people in the sports industry already have cutting edge technology, and they're doing different things, and it will definitely bridge the med beds, because they're able to do certain things to assist the body. And so I'll show you. So I'm going to go in and
bring it on.
So right now I'm in a machine called the CVAC. It's CVAC, and it provides pressure that's supposed to help your well-being and your body. I'm going to just turn it around. You can see. We'll get a full image of this, but it's inside of a contained structure, and it's not a med bed, but something interesting. You can see there's a monitor going on over there. I'll tell you how it goes. What's this doing is it's causing my ears to pop, and it feels kind of weird, but it's almost like when you're flying on a plane. It's supposed to simulate the experience of being on a plane. And I think I'm going to be exploring some of these different technologies for people to take a look at that are available right now. And you don't have to be an athlete. The athletes, although if you're an athlete, it will help you. But even for people that are wanting to be in good health and take care of themselves, this is really a nice option. Okay, so now I'm going to go over to and show you where the technology is. Here's the CVAC.
CVAC, I'll be darned.
Yeah, and this is cyclic variations in adaptive conditioning. And it looks like this really kind of space age type of, possibly some people could say it looks like a med bed. There is the monitor. I didn't get a clear view of that, and you can see, and they also show you that it's almost like you're going through elevation. I said it's almost like flying a plane, but so here's basic information specifically interested in showing improvement in condition in those with history of diabetic peripheral neuropathy, those with a history of chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, those with a history of traumatic brain injury and concussion. Related to altitude performance is O2 Health Lab. You know, just has lots of information about what it can do, and it was really quite an experience for me.
What kind of technology is it based on? Is it light technology or some kind of frequency, or what is it?
I'm not sure exactly how it operates.
I'll have
the
to look
science.
it up.
So we'll look at the science of it. So they say that it improves physical conditioning, supports all body natural energy systems, and the whole body adaptive conditioning. So the CVAC process that allows the body to become more efficient utilizing available oxygen, thus improving oxygen carrying capacity of the blood. And so here are some of the studies. The participants in the studies also unable to tolerate traditional exercise due to their diagnosis in lymphatic mobilization. Lymphatic works with all of that inflammation we were talking about. Plasma proteins and other metabolic waste products are removed. Effective lymphatic mobilization decreases in incidences of inflammation and has a positive impact on the body's immune system, endocrine balance, delivery of nutrients, and improved breathing. Moreover, the CVAC process exposures were well tolerated by most of the participants. It's like you're going, I'm not sure exactly how it works, but you're literally feeling your body as if it's moving, as if you're moving up in a plane and going down in elevation and going up in elevation, and your ears are popping, and it does something. It goes deeper into your body and starts creating all of these you know, benefits, which is for your immune system, your regulation of autonomic processes, glucose homeostasis, mitochondrial biogenesis, breathing capacity, stem cell phenomena.
Have a lot of trouble with mitochondria, dysfunctional mitochondria as a result of heavy metal intoxication and all the other things.
I think that this what we're looking at just is something to help us to try to get back to where we have ventured far from, and that's our health. And so people are looking for technologies. This is something that I stumbled upon. Did not know that it was available. I happened to find something locally. You
didn't stumble upon it. You were guided to it.
I was guided. I saw it and I said, you know, that looks like a med bed to me. I want to know what that is. And I went for it.
That's very interesting, too. And I'm going to tell you this, I'm going to add this little tidbit of information. If somehow it is causing you to be able to carry more oxygen in your blood, one of the ways that happens is when you alkalinize, because we're so acidic. Somehow it is dealing with the acidity in the body, because you can't carry as much oxygen when you're acidic as you can when you're alkaline.
Right.
Somehow something is getting modified.
No, it all works together. And so the combination of everything that we talked about today, but if people are also looking to have this system supported, and they're looking for something that is a newer technology that athletes are taking advantage of right now, because it's such a competitive field that the technology for some reason is passing through the sports area. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's getting blocked just for the general public, but because of under the guise of being athletic, they not under the guise, but literally helping athletes, it seems like there's less restrictions for all these newer technologies. So this would bridge from where we're at right now to the med beds. So we're not quite at the med beds, but this is available right now, and some of these services are extremely affordable, you know, and I've been taking advantage of it. So here's another one I want to share with you.
Where is that at? Where were you? You were actually able to be in one of those, correct?
In New Hampshire. In New Hampshire.
Where are they located?
In New Hampshire is there's, you can look online and see if there's a sports medicine, CVAC. Also, what I'm going to show you right now is infrared technology. Infrared also is very helpful. And so here's something else that I experienced. Okay, so this is an infrared light technology. Looks like a bed. And apparently you go in there for about 20 minutes. I'm going to see how that works out for me. And it's supposed to be overall infrared treatment throughout the body. Okay, so let's take a look at this one. You can see again here, that's a bed, and you just go in there. The first one you can go in, you just wear your regular clothing, the CVAC. The infrared, no clothes. You just go in there, buck naked.
Like, I belong to this gym, and they have what they call a red therapy room, and that's what you're supposed to do there. So I don't know if it's the infrared but I call it it's red light of some sort.
It's very, very good for you. Very, very good for you. All right, so I'm gonna see if I can open up the. Here's the Novathor. That's what it looks like. And I'm gonna open up this screen so we can see it. And here again, look at that. I need to turn up the red light. Whole body red light therapy.
Hey, yeah, wow, okay.
Red and near infrared light to treat injuries, reduce pain, relax muscles, joints, increase blood circulation. Treats people with joint pain. This is all inflammation. All of this. And here's, like I said, athletes go in, they get injured. They need something to help them get back out there and perform and compete. But other people with health issues are in these places that have found them and are saying, wow, this is absolutely amazing. I feel great. And it was like the most very, very interesting situation. So science, not magic. Light therapy has been studied in over 500 human trials and 4,000 lab studies. I mean, this is just their data. Look at this, can be used to treat psoriasis or vitiligo, which was one of my issues that I had because it's like an autoimmune issue.
Yeah. Well, we got a lot of those from when we were young. Autoimmune issues.
Yeah, I can imagine, or even what's going on right now too.
Oh yeah.
And I felt great when I got out of there. I really did. I felt like, some energy. I was literally seeing these little tiny like rays of light going through my body. It was really bizarre, and not like etherically, like literally. You can actually open your eyes and kind of see the lights coming through, and you close your eyes, and then you can still see the effects of the lights in there. And it's non-invasive. No known side effects. Been used by professional athletes to improve performance and reduce incidence of injury. And you can use red light therapy every day. Most people don't see much benefit using it more than once per day. For handheld treatments, then you have someone that's going to probably give more directed light. And then there's testimonies. I'm not selling any of these products. I'm not promoting them because I am going to get anything out of it. I'm just sharing this with the public because I see so many people are frustrated. When's this going to happen? We feel unhealthy now. We need help. And so that's something that needs to, that we can work on today. We can.
Right. We have grown up as a society that is so accustomed to something's wrong with me, give me a pill and I'll be better. I don't have to do anything then. It's not being, it's really not being responsible for your temple, and your body is your temple. Now, I know that this in this area in particular, the only gym that was available is called Snap Fitness, and they have red light therapy, which you are able to use once a day with their membership, which I can have through silver sneakers, they call it. But anyway, and it's a red therapy room, and you just stand there. You're supposed to declothe, like they said, and you just stand there and get 10 minutes of this red light therapy. So
try it.
saying that you
try
it.
You need to try it. And there's also, they have saunas, so then you're sweating too at the same time. It's really fantastic. You're getting the benefit of both, because then it's like your body, your skin's detoxing while you're getting this red light therapy, which is really good for you. I'm going to bring up yet another therapy that I've tried out myself. It's a crazy therapy. It's called cryotherapy, and you literally go into a place like this one. I think is talking about like a cold tank. I don't know if there's any water. The one I went in had no water. It was 140 degrees below zero, and you're not in there. Most people will not be in there more than 3 minutes. But it feels like probably about a half an hour, if you know what I mean. Like you're looking at the seconds going by. It's that cold.
Wow.
I had, like, I didn't go in one like this, but I don't know. Can you still see me? Am I still sharing?
Yeah.
No.
So yeah, I see you. And I see the picture of the woman in the whatever it is.
Okay. All right.
They have one here like that in Sedona, but it's like it doesn't look like that either, but it's like you can see the glass, and it's the room, a little room that you go into, and it gets,
something like this.
I think they wear a mask. Don't you have to wear a mask?
You have to wear a mask on your mouth. I mean, I have a nose ring. It's pretty obvious, and I have to put tape on it. You can expose your skin, but your hands in particular have to have plastic gloves, and then like a mitten type of thing over that, and then you have to have socks on your feet, because people have gotten frostbite from being in.
3 minutes.
It's 3 minutes, but it's a combination of moisture with your hands and your feet. And so when I first started doing it, I'm in there jumping around. They give you headphones, there's music. I'm jumping around trying to, like it's so cold. Like that's your first response. And then I was like, she was like, oh no, she goes, you made it even colder by doing that. Don't do that again. Because she was worried that I was going to possibly get frostbite or some other issues. Wow. And so, you want to, you have to kind of, you can move around, but, and some people stand still. I don't know how they do that, but it's cold. It's really, really cold. But when you're finished, look at the things that it does. It prevents dementia, preventing and treating cancer.
How does it prevent dementia? How does it do that?
It reduces inflammation.
Pardon?
Inflammation is the majority of our problem. Not all of it, but
so it uninflames it by being cold.
That's what it's saying here. It looks like the possibility to be able to reduce inflammation.
I was given a free sample, the card for a free trial offer to go in and try it one time. I just haven't done it yet.
Well, I hope you do, and try it out and tell me how it is, and we'll have to come back and talk about it.
Yeah,
it is one heck of an experience.
Did you feel good afterwards?
I felt fantastic afterwards.
Oh, okay.
And I feel like it's almost like, think about, I mentioned it to Rolf, and I said, this is really an interesting experience. And he says, well, everyone looks at the Russians and they say, oh, they're crazy. They take their infants and they put them in freezing cold water, and what are they thinking? And it's they understand the benefits of the cold on the physical body, but they know, how much time that it can happen, and they do it the right way, obviously.
Yeah.
But
didn't they have a polar bear club in like Sweden or something like that? And they would, when the water was super cold, they would go in and then they come out, but there was a belief that it improves your immunity substantially.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and it does. It enables you to survive, to thrive in all different environments as well. But you can see that I'm not saying it cures things, but it does do something to the body that helps you to sustain, much better.
Maybe it stimulates ancient genes, maybe it wakes them up. Maybe it does something to that effect that then it enhances your body's resistance to stress and other things. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Yeah, and there's even still other things that they're doing out there that are really what athletes are already participating in, and that we can partake of right now. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to get back to, here we go, and so I think that's it for today, and I could maybe try out some other things and we can have another conversation and share more knowledge on this area and share with the public, because why wait? Why should we wait? We should start doing things now for ourselves. We are our greatest investment. It's not all the money that we have to watch out for. It's all the, the food and everything's very, very important, but we are the most important ones right now, because we have to be strong and healthy in order to combat all these other things that are happening around us. Take care of ourselves. I want everyone to take care of themselves and to look into some of these things that we've talked about today. And I want to say thank you, Gail, it's been a pleasure that you came on the show, and we had a very good discussion and a lot of information exchanged, and appreciate your knowledge.
Thank you. Happy to be here. Yes, and maybe we can do it again sometime, and pick different topics like this. Some of those that red light therapy, I've experienced it, but I'll have to try the cryotherapy and see what I think of it.
The cryotherapy, yeah.
Yeah, and then the CVAC, I haven't. That was totally new to me. But I'm wondering, are any of these things, any of the 6,000 cures that were talked about in the past, or is this just? I don't know if that's all been released, or you know what I mean?
No, I don't know what you're referring to. The 6,000 cures, like
Well, that was something that was said by Trump. One time about all these cures that are going to be released, therapies that are, that have been hidden and kept from people. So I don't know.
It could be. This is definitely research and things that they've looked into. Like I said, the benefits of what athletes have been partaking in. If you're not an athlete, you wouldn't be aware of it. I mentioned it to my son, who is a baseball athlete, and he was aware of cryotherapy. He had tried it before, and so it's been out there. She said, if you're not an athlete, you don't know about it, and if you're not feeling healthy, it's one way to give your body a kickstart, or find something that you really like in one of these processes that really works well for you.
Have they found any dangers of that freeze therapy?
You have to have someone that, obviously these people are licensed. Mm-hmm. You are to put on all the gear that you need to put on. When you're doing infrared, some of them you need to have goggles on so you don't harm your eyes. It depends. Some of them you don't. I went in 2 of them that you didn't need it, but there are other, sometimes I think they're going to be coming out with some stronger ones that you might need goggles for. But as far as the cryotherapy, I think it's the cold with moisture, so your hands get wet. They get they perspire, and those are the areas that you have to try to keep dry or unaffected. And so same with your feet.
Probably
what?
Yeah.
That you could, but they know how to deal with it, and they give you all the tools that you need, and I've done it multiple times, and I haven't had any adverse effect whatsoever. So I'm talking about things that I have personally experienced. You saw that I tried the CVAC. I tried the infrared saunas, as well as that infrared bed that I just displayed, which is a full body one, whereas the sauna, it looks like a Swedish sauna. There's a wooden bench that you sit on, and then there's heat elements that come off, and this above and next to you, and then it's 140 degrees. in temperature. Like, so you're going from that heat, 140 degrees in heat, the cryo is 140 degrees in cold, below zero. It's like shocking. But either one, your body is benefiting. Like I said, you're learning to adapt to elements, and I don't know. It's a good experience.
I'm inclined to believe that it activates ancient genes that have been dormant because of the extremes.
I think so too. Yeah, and all of this global warming, know.
Yeah.
We can handle it now because we did the saunas for 140 degrees. We're all set.
Okay.
All right. So, well, anyhow, thank you, Gail, and thank you to all of our listeners. We appreciate you, and hope you be well, be healthy, be strong, don't give up, and positive, highest intention for humanity, and let's keep going. And thanks again, Gail. Have a good day, everyone.
You too. Thank you.
You have been listening to Andronetalks Radio. Join us on YouTube channel Jessica Arael Morocco and visit her website at www.readingsbyarael.com.